much. I was like, okay, I'm going to go through this.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. We started. So, hey everybody, Blood and Bobby and Gabby
Hi
here. Sorry we
guys.
took a while. We were just waiting for Gabby to start. I
Yeah,
noticed that there
I'm
was a.
apologizing.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's just that I noticed that there was like 4 people like waiting for the
Oh
stream.
dang, we
So
were expected. I hope we didn't make you guys run away. I mean,
yeah,
hopefully we said
yeah, so but I think we should be good. The good news is like I'm glad that the chat for the most part has been patient. I've done streams before where like when I didn't start on time, there would be people asking, "Hey, where is this guy?" or like things like that. So
Oh,
this time,
okay.
I'm
Thank
glad
you
that
so
the
much, guys.
yeah. So we are here to discuss Dana Terrace's Owl House AMA. I remember. Um, Hearing about this and thinking, maybe this would be a good idea to discuss in a video, especially since back when Star ended, we discussed the Star AMA that creator Darren FC did. I don't remember who was in it exactly, but I know that Darren was there and a few of her crew members. This time it's basically Dana herself, as far as I understand, like running the AMA and asking questions for people who are wondering, what's going to happen next and learning about more character details. We'll also talk about questions that commenters ask. There's actually somebody on Twitter, 89 Technical, who wanted to ask a question for the stream, and we're actually going to start with that so that we don't leave this question just hanging for the very end of the video. So we'll actually, yeah, so is that cool if we go ahead and start with the Twitter question before we
Right,
get to
right. Shall
the?
I read
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, how would you feel if Luz started to date someone other than Amity, say, for example, Amira? If Amira stole Luz from Amity? Okay. And when we're talking about Amira, I'm really bad at names, guys. I
Mm-hmm.
apologize. I will not.
Yeah, it took me a while to learn the names of Amity siblings, and by the way, we're not gonna
Okay,
have
so we
the
are we are talking about the one of Amity's siblings, right?
yes.
Okay, yes. It's funny. I hope you don't mind me
Yeah, I
coming into
don't
this.
like. I wanted you to answer this because like I didn't pick up on this. Like you brought this up to me, and I was like, huh, I didn't even
Yeah,
realize this.
yeah. Actually, because like I've been just kind of stuck on this whole thing after the season ended. I'd been going over points and actually seeing a lot of awesome people's videos on YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
kudos to all you guys in the fandom making some really awesome content. And I noticed some people pointing out how there were hints with Luz actually kind of blushing when she first meets Amira and yeah, well, the twins together, but particularly blushing at Amira. And I was actually asking myself that same thing. There, it's like, wait, like part of me put into context, like what would have happened if, for example, let's say that Amity had already established that she had a crush on Luz, and she just comes barging in and sees Luz blushing in front of her older sister, and just
Yeah.
like, oh heck no. So that kind of situation, it's run across my mind. I mean, I think it makes for good drama.
Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, I know there's some people out there who don't like the love triangle arc because it's very
Yeah,
cliched.
it's not for everyone, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's not.
I don't like for me when it comes to love triangle, it's kind of case for case. It's not the thing where I'm like, oh no. Like, I like the love triangle that was going on in like Star, for instance, but the one in Core was just kind of corny to me. In this case, I don't have like since I didn't like pick up on like Luce's blushing, and we're talking about the Lost in Language episode, right?
Yes, that's the one where we first meet the twins
Yeah, that
and
is
the
the
book
one.
comes to life. Is it the one where the book comes to life?
And the character is chasing in Luce and Amity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That one. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I think for me it's more of a case for case kind of thing where it's like if they want to go the love triangle route, we'll see how it goes. I just hope that they don't do something that's too similar to like what Star did, because I know a lot of people thought it was really like weird. It didn't just turn into like love triangle; it was like a love like square that just kept growing and
I mean,
growing.
I mean, as far as from what I've seen with Korra, that ain't even like a love triangle. It's a freaking love polygon
Yeah.
shaped thing.
Yeah, so it just kind of felt like, for like in Stars, it just kind of felt like a love triangle that just kept mutating and mutating and mutating. And yeah, it's just like,
It's
what is
just
this?
like she's my ex-girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
who got with this other girl who's also my ex-girlfriend
Mm-hmm.
who also may have tried to date my brother.
If I try comprehending all this, my head's gonna explode. Like, I just think of, the character from Cronenberg's Scanners movie when his, like, head just,
Wait.
it's just,
But I digress. I'm sorry.
yeah, no,
I don't
it's
mean
okay, it's okay.
to. I'm actually trying to like get through Legend of Korra, so this stuff is really fresh in my mind.
I
But
see.
as far as like seeing this applied in the Lumity situation, I think there's a very interesting way to go about it, and if the crew decides to go with that, I don't think it would necessarily be a bad idea.
Yeah, if I think it really just depends on how it's executed. Where I think I would have more of a problem with it if it's just you could feel like if it was like a by the numbers sort of execution where it's like, oh, Luce likes somebody but already likes Amity. Amity finds out and she's like, all sad and running away, and now this other person he's like, if it gets to like that I'm just like, oh God help me, this is this is
No, and low key, as far as like that level of like tension,
yeah.
as far as the love triangle deal goes, I don't
Mhm.
think it would have to be something that kind of tense, just because we already have so much like probable tension already.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we don't even know if the parents are going to be okay with Luce in the first place.
Yeah, which I'm still, even putting the relationship aside, I could imagine they would already have problems with Luce just being, who is this like human girl that's running around trying to learn magic, kind of
Hmm.
like how Amity treated Luce in the when we first met her, when she was very hostile to Luce and that kind of, so it's just
Yeah.
yeah, so
That and what I'm thinking, basically like seeing how she behaved with Willow, just saying, and that's just on a friendship level.
yeah,
Now imagine somebody that they know that their child is trying to have a romantic relationship
yeah,
with. That's like, oof,
hmm
oof. Like
really go there because
I don't want people talking about us behind our back.
yeah.
Don't set a bad example for us.
Uh, you know
I
what I
don't know
just
why
thought
I went
of?
into
Like,
an accent, but
yeah. No, I get, it's like the you have no idea. Like,
you have no idea.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of trying to also keep in mind what happened in Star because I don't know if it's just the Starco shipper in me that was like, what if they go this side? Where I was thinking, what if they try to do this thing with like Moon? Because I was wondering,
Oh,
because you know how like
Moon,
Moon is a
yeah.
very like kind of this authoritarian by the book kind of character. So I was thinking, what if she doesn't like Marco? Because who is this? Like. He's not royalty. He's not from Amity. I thought they were gonna do like the thing where it's like, it's kind of like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
cliche where like where like the daughter brings home like a boyfriend and the dad doesn't like, it's kind of like that sort of
Yeah, but
dynamic where the parent doesn't like.
I could have definitely seen that with Moon.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, her dad just like, oh, it's fine, cupcake, let her be in love. That's like we were
yeah,
when
but
we were getting
Yeah, but if anything,
together.
Moon was pretty accepting of Marco. The
That's
few times, like,
true.
I was actually kind of surprised. They didn't, like, interact too much in the series, but other than they seem to have, like, a sort of, like, they seem to be, like, friendly toward each other when they did interact.
Oh yeah, but which I think that did work out pretty well
Yeah.
anyway. Like I don't
Hmm.
think would the tension have been interesting? Yeah. Is it necessary? Probably not.
Yeah, no. It's just like, the kind of shipper. I even did a fan theory video, like saying, what if they go that direction and they didn't ultimately.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's still kind of
It,
funny
it's
to
always
think
it's always
about.
a fun question though. That's always a fun question. Like how would that be?
Yeah, because
I
like in
could
that kind
yeah.
of a case, it's like I was like so invested in their like relationship, where it's like if they did go down the route, I could see I'd be curious to know. I think a more like sort of not cliche, but a kind of more standard example would be like what happened in regular show. Like, did you see the episode with Margaret's dad?
Margaret's dead. Margaret's dead. No, I don't. I
Yeah, because
don't.
in
I
that
don't.
episode, that whole time, it was like kind of a more classic example because, Margaret is, over the moon for Mordecai, but her
Aw.
dad, like, won't even shake his hand. And, like, the whole episode, he's trying to get that handshake, you
Oh
know?
wow.
So,
I could see that.
yeah, but as far as, like, what would happen if, like, somebody else came along or if Lou started to have feelings, it's more for me, it's like a case of, I'll see how it goes. It's more of a case per case, like,
Yeah,
sort
I
of
think more
basis.
than anything, what we'd be looking at would be that Amity would be probably feeling more pushed away and like more in the need to conceal her emotions just because she's like, oh, I don't even know. The freaking sister's already starting to go for her. Like, yeah, I'm not even going. No, I'm not even going to bother with that. Like,
Yeah, I just hope like if they do go like the whole sibling thing just kind of reminds me of Korra because of that. Um, remember
That's
that competition? I
true.
forgot the name of the episode. The one where like both Mako and Bolin have feelings. I still remember
Yeah,
the look on
yeah.
Bolin's face
Oh my
when he
god,
found
no,
out, and he's like
poor
crying.
Bolin, my boy. He was sweet. He did not deserve
Like
that.
I just
He
remember
did
like his
not.
crying was just like over the top, and he has like snot coming out his nose, and
I know, like I couldn't laugh just because legit that's me. That would have been me. I'm like that's me ugly crying in front of everybody making a dang fool of myself. I can't look at that. Just
mhm.
my poor man, just don't do that. That's so sad.
So for me, it's not really a question where I could give like a straightforward answer because we've seen like many examples of with varying results. So I think it's just a matter of how will the Owl House do it. With current episodes, they do a good job. So like I'm sure they would. Just I hope it doesn't get like way too over the top with all these like other or other
Yeah,
possibilities.
yeah, and I mean the other possibility that I saw people playing around with, which I thought would be very interesting as well, is if practically the twins team up to become Amity's wingmen,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
because,
that
like, I see that get passed around a lot. You sent me, like, a song where they're singing I Won't Say I'm in Love with Hercules. Or I also saw, like, a fan art where, the twins practice with, like, a plushie of Lou, so, Amity could pretend to talk. Did you just spit out your water? Did you just do a spit take?
I almost
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram. Like the twins were like holding up this plushie of Luce, and Amity was pretending to talk, and like it basically ends with like one of the twins is like, "Is your nose bleeding, Amity?" And it's like, "You got this," or
It's
something to
like
that effect.
here, you need this tissue. It's like what? It's like don't ask.
So, but yeah,
No, that
okay,
just makes me imagine Amity kind of low key going Helga Pataki.
yeah, that could be
Just
pretty
starting to
funny.
practicing. I mean, I feel like that would be way out of character, but
Mhm,
thinking about it just makes me laugh so much.
mhm.
Oh, anyway, look at
Okay,
me.
so
I'm
we could move
trying
on
to catch
to
my
the
breath.
next question, which I imagine is like one of the really big ones.
I mean, the amount of attention this response has been getting in general is just, oh my gosh. Am I surprised? No, obviously not. But does this still make me happy just seeing how well it's received and how uh Dana is like backing this whole stuff up and putting it all out there and letting us just delve right into it, just be like, yes, give
Hmm.
us that rainbow, please. We love the rainbow cake, rainbow cookies, just all the rainbow.
Are you planning another Grom?
Wait, no, what?
Like,
No.
I just think I don't know why. I just think food equals dance. I don't know why. My
I
brain
know,
works that way.
dude. Like, legit, I would totally love to have an event like that. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
If you just have like a giant kind of like layered cake that's like just plain white without any kind of decorating, and then
Yeah.
you cut into it and just sprinkles and rainbow colors start pouring out. Like,
Yeah.
ah,
I mean, I don't know,
this.
Gallery Nucleus, do you want to plan a Owl House event like this when
Please,
coronavirus kicks the
please,
bucket?
please.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, which I'm actually thinking of like doing an like yeah, so it's like I think that could be interesting. So
I need more reasons to get more dress clothes, guys. I
yeah.
do.
Okay, so anyway, so what exactly was the question again? We're not like I want to make a couple things clear as we get into the Reddit. We're not gonna like show the AMA on screen because just in case people don't want their questions
Yeah, we're just
placed
going to
word for
go
word.
over the points kind of without sort of putting anybody full on out there. You know what I mean? Like, we're not trying to steal other people's words here, guys.
Yeah. So if you want to check out the entire AMA, which it's full of like all these questions, we don't have time to go over everything. We're gonna stick to like maybe 15 of Dana's responses or so.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we could always like, I could probably come back and put a link
yeah, there's already a
on
link in the
the.
description.
Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
Okay.
Then just go down to the description, guys. We got the
Yeah.
link down there.
Okay. So what was the question revolving like the first AMA question we're gonna talk about?
So yes, the question in particular was basically asking about particularly Amity, just because it's quite clear who Amity is interested in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we had the big reveal with Luce and all that, but it was kind of left sort of in question as far as like the specifics of her orientation and whatnot, just because we also have, for example, the instance in which we saw that Amity was also drawing fan fiction, romantic fan fiction,
Mm-hmm.
with a character who did not know what kind of, what their deal was. So it's like, okay, is she bi, like loose? Is she lesbian? Like, what's the deal here?
Mm-hmm.
And Dana just came out full on. She's like, yeah, she's supposed to be lesbian. It. I'm trying to look down here. Yeah, she was pretty much like, she noticed that there was a lot of misunderstanding regarding that, so she just went out and just straight up put it out there. So yes.
Yeah, and actually, to go further on, the actual answer also said, "quote Romantic threads are fun, and I love how many people are connecting to that storyline. But my personal taste as a storyteller will never allow me to write a full-on romance saga. That being said, me and the crew are having a crap ton of fun developing this thread in season 2. All the ins and outs of these storylines we're keeping track of. Feels like we're knitting."
Yeah, and that's a really good thing to point out, because I know there's like, even I was kind of sensing this, and I think they address it in the AMA as well. Somebody asks about this, like, there could be a sense of like, oh wow, we're ignoring the plot, we're ignoring all this other development just because we're too busy shipping these two people together.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's like, this is just a matter of keeping in mind, like, that's not the only thing happening around here. Like, there's actually legitimately really good story here.
Yeah, especially that season finale.
Just,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
I
also, yeah, I noticed somebody in the live chat, Purple Phantom. I talk to you a lot on Twitter. How you doing? Are you enjoying this chat?
hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, You also notice Purple Phantom said, quote, better having an LGBTQ plus character in the beginning of the series than the end, and also said, I respect Dana.
I am right there with you because I know a lot of people complain about this, about like, oh yeah, but they have us waiting for the whole thing till the end of the show. Ugh. It's like, guys, do you know how hard it is to get executives to be okay with your ideas full on out from the beginning? It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they were like, I was looking around and seeing what Dana was commenting on, and I mean, obviously, it wasn't a case of oh no, gay bad, but even then, it was just like this is still considered a risky move. So of course, the executives are gonna be like, I don't know, like, are we gonna go there right off the bat, like, we don't want to just lose everybody right at the beginning of the show, and it's a legitimate concern as far as like audience is concerned, like the size of audience, but this is a really big win in that sense. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen more characters like this before, but just the fact that they could just go like that, we started getting into the development like that is what we're here for, guys, and it just shows that, I mean, we're having the demand for these kinds of characters, kind of like more notice and accounted for. So absolutely, yeah, this is. I think it's going pretty dang well in that sense. So I wouldn't really be worried about any kind of problems like that we've seen. Hopefully, not as many. Or kind of like people having a big problem with how it's executed. So yeah, it's just it's a matter of take it for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, okay. And this question kind of follows, and I noticed, hi again, Herlon, please merch, which we'll get to merchandising. Merchandising.
Merchandising.
If anybody knows in the live chat which movie I'm referencing, please let me know. It's a really good movie, comes from one of my favorite comedy directors in film.
The kids love this one.
Okay, so the next question, Gabby?
Okay. So is Luce aware of Amity kind of blushing and just having what everyone is calling gay panic in front of Luce? And I mean, I think we see this a lot, just because, like, I like how everybody is just labeling it that, because that's just like a perfect way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty much just like her starting to, like, you could even sense in her voice that her breath is kind of getting off, and you see they're blushing, or she goes just, or like what they're calling also tomato Amity.
Tomato Amity.
Just because of how red her face gets,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, so you think, oh my gosh, how is Luce not catching on to this? And okay, so we can read the answers from Dana just as they are.
Like straight up, yeah, it's fine.
All right, so in response to this question, Dana says Luce is a little bit of a bonehead. Very relatable. That being said, Luce has been so distracted with Edith's curse, it makes it hard to see what's right in front of her. And I think that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you got all this stuff going on. Like, how do you expect, we got all this stuff going on, how do you expect me to be noticing, like, some sort of offhand kind of, subtle, well, not so subtle, but for her subtle, just kind of like, what?
and the other thing I noticed is it's not like every time, like there's like some scenes where Amity blushes where Luce isn't even like in the same like room. Like I know there was like I think Adventures in the Elements when the two are talking together about like starting a book club and you could see like Amity blushing. And then there's the Grudgeby episode, she, when she, I like the scene in the Grudgeby episode where she's like, Luz could be so stupid sometimes, which I love, and she wants to help you, which is sweet. So it's like,
Wait, no, it's gross and I hate it.
yeah, but it's the something to that effect. And
or that part where she's freaking out at the thought of them running around in cute sports uniforms.
She runs away. Yeah. And also to clarify, Dana also said, quote, "Some clarity. I'm not at all calling Luz stupid. I actually see her as a very bright and quick thinker, but also young and still figuring life out. Something I personally related to, especially at 14. In this particular situation, there's so much going on in her life, she's oblivious to some things in front of her." So
yeah, and not to mention that, but I think and this is just me kind of sort of picking up on Luce as how she's written and whatnot, but she seems to be the one who in those kinds of cases is used to being the one. Ah, gosh, I'm just going over my words right now, but taking the initiative.
Yeah.
Right, I could definitely see her being the one coming around like, hey, I'm like you. Not like a creepy kind of like, oh my gosh, what is this person trying to do to me way, but just kind of like just upfront.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, because we have like how she was responding to the guy that she was questing with in that one episode, and just how like she's just like, but yeah. Should we move on to the next question?
Before that, I wanted to answer a couple more questions from the viewers.
Oh, so okay, we got more questions.
You asked, does anybody know how long the Owl House has been in production? And then said, I think it was 2 years or so. I wouldn't know myself. Like, do you know if Dana answered that question in the end?
The only thing I remember reading about in that respect in the AMA was she was pointing out, somebody asked roughly how long it takes to produce an episode because they had seen the production process for the fight between Ida and Lilith, and she goes, well, yeah, probably roughly about a year. Which is like, what? I mean, we could take that as a rough estimate, but still, like, I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
This is a long process.
Yeah, I mean, just animation in general is a really long process. I still remember watching the bonus features on one of my Avatar DVDs, and somebody asked the creators, how long does it take you to make an episode? And the answer was 9 months. Basically, I took it as 9 months per episode.
Yeah, and, that adds up really quick. So... Yeah, who knows how long and how hard these guys have been working on the show. It's definitely worth it.
It definitely shows. It definitely shows, yeah.
And this is also why when we start listening, people be like, when are we going to get new episodes? It's like, chill, bro. Do you know how long they take? They're probably like rushing to continue making stuff right now.
Yeah.
It's a hiatus, but it's a hiatus for the audiences most of the time. It's not like they're sitting down and, kind of like, not doing anything the rest of the time that the air is not showing. No, they need time to catch up with the rest of what they're making.
Yeah. If anything, it also gives time for newer fans to, check out the episode so that they don't have to worry that, season 2 is here, hurry up.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, it benefits on both sides. Not only in the sense of, brain, the quality of the episodes, but like you said as well, kind of giving a chance for more people to catch up who might be, a little late to the party. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know I've been kind of late in a lot of situations in that sense of like looking into a show, so it's just like, hey, the more the merrier.
Yeah, definitely. And Purple Fandom. Actually, to get to Herlon's question, I think you were asking season 3, or should the show end in its second season? Which, I
want to think of an ending?
I lean more toward at least. I think it needs at least a third season because, like, I still think it could go through a lot in the second season. And to be like clear, Gabby, I also kind of have this like tendency of starting to think about how could this end like early on. It's just like how I try to like see with my binoculars far like
Oh
out.
yeah. I mean, for me, I'm here just like I'm having fun. I love this world. As like, hey, when do you think is enough time to end? I'm like, what? You want to
Yeah.
end it?
So yeah, it's not that it's not that I
Yeah, no,
want
no,
the series to end.
not to
It's
be,
just that.
not to like paint that question is like a bad or mean question. It's just I'm just having too much
Yeah.
fun with this.
Hmm.
It's like. I,
Yeah. So
I mean,
I
I can
think.
definitely see it going for particularly long time. I mean, like you said, at least 3 seasons. But I mean, if
Yeah.
we could get more,
Yeah, because
please,
the thing about the
please.
way, like, at least for me, the reason to think that, especially with Star, was because Disney's, like, at the most, they give their shows, like, 4 seasons, and that's it. Like, they're, like, for the most part, like, if they go, like, 4 seasons for a Disney show is, like, considered a long time, basically.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's not like a regular show situation where I think regular show got like 8 or 9 seasons,
Oh
which even then, like in
yeah.
the case of regular show, I think went a little too long because the later seasons got a little repetitive. But
And I'm
yeah,
here kind of like looking at Adventure Time, like, thank you for being so long.
mm-hmm,
Got to be for so long, and I was just so happy. I
yeah,
was straight up crying when the ending came. I was just like, this is it.
mm-hmm,
But I mean, as they say, all good things must come to an end in some way, shape, or form. So it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. But we want Owl House here for a good while still, please.
Yeah, it's
It's not
still in its
fully
early
destroyed.
days, so it's not like, unless something comes out like it's going to be Gravity Falls, where it's like, second season, I'm done.
Oh gosh, that was so sad. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, no, why? At least after that, we got the small graphic novel, which I thought that was pretty good too. So, as far as that, I don't know if I have anything more to add
Yeah, it's
in that
okay.
respect.
Also, Purple Phantom said that you should be a voice actor.
Thank you. I like sometimes entertaining my friends with my impressions just randomly. I don't have a lot of them, but it's fun.
Yeah. And also told me that regular show had 8 seasons. So, okay, so.
Yeah, that's still a pretty good amount of time. I mean, Adventure Time went past 9, but Adventure Time was probably like, good lord, it's an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love, but it is a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
So like, see the regular show kind of went up there. That's a pretty dang long time.
Yeah, it was. And also led to a really sad, let's say bittersweet finale. Like, I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but I got pretty close to tears.
That's
Mm-hmm. But still really
I only
creative.
heard about what happened, and my heart just went.
Yeah. Hmm. And
Uh,
I talk about it all the time about, oh, Star, what happens if Moon dies? Owl House, what happens if Edith dies?
yeah.
It's just like, it's like what they say now. It's like modern shows. They start off on nice, and then the first season
And,
finale, somebody might have one foot in the grave.
oh yeah, either that or they're literally missing a foot.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, probably. So, okay, so yeah, we have to
Which
move
one do
on.
you choose?
Hmm. Okay, so the next one,
Grave
I'll take
or
the next question.
baby?
So, next one is, so it's basically asking, like, what Amity's natural hair color is,
Oh
and,
gosh, the response to this
like,
question.
yeah, I noticed that, is it just, yeah,
Uh,
which, I'll save my, what I think, after I, go over Dana's response, and she said, quote, Amity's natural hair is brown, like her father's. Emera and Edric's hair is green, like their mother's. Mrs. Blight likes her children to be color coordinated.
if that does not sound ominous, that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? They're your kid's not your freaking wardrobe, woman. Ah.
Yeah, like I noticed like is it just me or do you notice that like hair color is kind of a motif in the Owl House?
Oh yeah,
Because
oh
like
yeah.
with things like with when Lilith reversed like Edith's curse and shared the curse where her hair started to turn like grayish. Or even like how like I was wondering how did Lilith go from having like red hair to like really dark blue?
I think they even answered that in the AMA, and yeah, it's kind of like a recurring thing with a lot of characters. With Lilith, I remember Dana basically said, "Oh yeah, she basically when she joined the coven, she wanted to look more intimidating or serious or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and so she started dyeing her hair."
Oh, okay, I see. I thought it was like a thing where it's like, "Welcome to the Emperor's Coven. You now have dark blue hair. We hope you like it."
That would have been scary.
Yeah,
I would have
because like
been
I was
like, red
wondering,
flag,
I was
red
wondering with
flag.
like Amity, it's like what like she has green hair but like has brown, like the front is
Yeah,
kind of
her
brownish.
roots.
So
Uh huh.
so I was wondering, is it like a thing where it's like if she like becomes fully committed to her parents' like agenda, it will go like fully green, or if she cuts like ties and kind of sort of separates herself, will it go back to turning brown, or am I just like over
Well,
analyzing?
yeah, no, because it's literally just hair dyeing.
Oh,
It's yeah,
okay.
and it's like God. That's why I find this so just ominous because it's like, oh, cute, you're dyeing your hair and it's such a lovely color. Did you choose? It's like, no, my mom needs me to be color coordinated with my
Oh yeah, oh I
family.
see why you find it creepy now. So it's just like, okay. It's just like I can't wait to meet Mrs. Blight in season 2.
I'm dreading it. I've been dreading it since I heard what kind of parents they are with the whole thing that happened in Saving Willow. I'm just like, no.
I'm scared.
I'm very scared.
Yeah.
Very, very scared.
Okay, and yeah, Purple Phantom summed up shows these days. Season 1, nice and funny. Last season, death, death, death.
Practically. We're gonna go George R. R. Martin all up in here. No, knock on wood.
Oh, please. I don't even have real wood in front of me. But yeah,
That's
okay, point
fine.
made. So next question is like asking about Mr. and Mrs. Fly's personalities and whether Luce will get a Kinsey.
Oh, I remember reading this. Hold on, let me catch up because I have lost my part
Yeah, so like
down.
I'll answer the first question. The first answer was quote Amity's parents appear one way, but there's a little more to them than you guys think, and that could either be good or bad for our protagonist. I especially have fun writing Mr. Blight. He's interesting. So I guess we'll answer the first one.
Yeah, and regarding Luce's quinceañera, depends on if we get a season three. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
cry emoji.
Please, Disney.
Please, please, Disney,
Mm-hmm.
let us
Like
have
honestly,
this.
I'd be
I
down to
love
like
this
have a full
show.
episode that's like dedicated to her.
That would
It's
be
like I think that would be wonderful.
adorable.
Like as opposed to
Yeah.
what did they do? Do you remember what they did in like Star Wars? Just throw a birthday party. Like basically that's it.
Though here's the weird thing, and I found this so fitting with Star too in her birthday episode, because this
Yeah.
kind of is a lot of the times with stories revolving around quinceañeras, and I know this just because like I've seen this done more than once.
Yeah.
Also, I was one of these people, kind of like I didn't get to do exactly how it works when you do have the quinceañera. I
Mm-hmm.
actually didn't want one. But a lot of the times, like how they paint it is that the daughter just doesn't like how the quinceañera is being done, or
Mm-hmm.
she just didn't want a quinceañera in the first place, and so she ends up running away from her own party.
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally see Luz doing that, especially with how her mom is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know her mom is like really sweet, and I love her.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also still tell that as far as taste goes and kind of like social constructs, they clash a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing with quinceañeras is everything has to be so orderly. Everything
Mm-hmm.
has to be planned. The preparations begin probably at the beginning of the year, several months, maybe even half a year, if not more, before it's even close. Like it's a long and arduous process. Not to mention that, at least me, I personally do not find the dresses that most quinceañeras wear to be anywhere remotely comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, well, a lot of girls who have quinceañeras, I've noticed that a good deal of them, if not a chunk of them, have, they kind of end up being like, dang it, this sucks. Like, I didn't even want this in the first place. Like, mom, why did you make me do it? And mom's here
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't, like, I know because my mom actually didn't get to have one.
Mm-hmm.
So when she heard like, oh, when I told her, oh, hey, I don't want a quinceañera party, she's like, you break my heart.
Oh.
She's like, yeah, she broke my heart that day, and I was like, mom, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just like I can imagine some parents just be like, no, we're going to have this, and you're going to have a good time. And gosh darn it, I paid a bunch of money so you could do this, and I didn't even get it. Now you
And
enjoy
hey, like,
it.
you know what would be really interesting? Because, like, I thought for the second half of the first season, her mom was coming back. It's not like the thing where it's like the Grom monster, or looks like her mom, like, so that, hey, maybe it could be an interesting case for bringing back her mom, like,
I
for
mean, it
real.
could.
Oh,
It really
and it'd be
could.
interesting because of the whole Luce destroying the portal at the end of season one. So it's just like,
You know what that makes me think of?
tell me.
Uh, I've also been low key checking out B&H, BNA. There you go, brand new animal.
Uh huh.
And there's actually a thing like that too. It wasn't necessarily that the character did not want to be with their parents or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but there's this whole deal where they have to run away to another city because they like they find out they're like a transforming tanuki, anthropomorphic transforming tanuki. And basically, there's like a stigma of, like anthropomorphic animal people in this society. So she runs off and she's not home for her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes on her phone and she sees a picture from her mom's, account saying, "Oh, happy birthday, daughter, I love you." And it's just a picture of a cake. And if it's not like the sweetest and saddest thing I've seen for a birthday, it's just like, ah. And I'm picturing Luz having to do that too, just kind of like, God dang it, I love my mom and I want to be with her right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I can't even be there for my birthday.
Yeah.
It's
Or
like,
maybe I'm wondering if
oh.
like maybe they'll do a thing where like Willow or Amity tries to like, throw like a birthday
I can
party,
see
and like
that,
maybe they're
Ida.
going
I
to
can
Lucy
see
saying,
like
oh,
Ida.
what do you like, what would you do like back home? And like she starts telling them, well, do oh, it's supposed to be my kid this year and that kind of thing, and so it's
Yeah,
like,
like I could imagine Ida just kind of like fussing over her, just being like, "All right, we're gonna give you like the best birthday ever." Which
yeah.
la la la.
Although
Yeah,
in that kind of a case, do you think Luce might say something like, "What are you planning?" Like in that kind of thing, where it's just like, "What are
or
you
it's
trying
just
to
like, "Oh
pull?"
no."
Yeah. So yeah,
It's
Purple
like, yeah, this
Phantom.
is
Yeah,
cake. You love
yeah,
cake, right? It's
yeah,
like, why is the cake growling at me?
yeah, yeah. Fun time. So Purple Phantom is asking how it's spelled.
uh, oh, the quinceañera?
Yes.
It's Q-U-I,
Q-U.
N-C-E. Enye. So that's the N with the squiggly line on top, the accent. Quinceañera. E-R-A. There you go.
Okay.
I think I got it. I might have. I'm bad at spelling probably out loud, but like I could type it out for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, but as far as like Amity's like parents go, I'm like as scared as we are. Like I am interested to see what are they like, especially like beyond what we saw in Understanding Willow. I could imagine they're still not exactly parents of the year like kind of
Oh,
material. Like no, no,
absolutely
no,
not.
no.
Nowhere
Yeah,
near that. Mm-mm.
yeah. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, but like I'm kind of wondering if it's like what we discussed in the last discussion, where it's like maybe it'll be a thing where it's like Luce has to kind of win over Amity's parents and their friends over to their side to defeat that
I
eventually.
I can see that, and especially with the kind of determination that Luz has, I don't see her taking no as an answer.
Yeah.
So I would hope that she would be persistent and ultimately make them give in and kind of join the party.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah,
oh,
so
fun times.
but yeah, it could be really interesting. So, moving on to the next question is asking about what's the significance of the gems on Ida and Lilith's chest. And the response is actually kind of interesting. Dana said, quote, "At first there was no significance, just an in-world fashion choice. It wasn't until we were in the production for The Intruder when we decided to use Ida's gem as a visual aid to show when the curse was overtaking her. On the Boiling Isles, gems are as common in outfits as necklaces."
Right, yeah, and I remember when we were talking about uh the season finale, you were kind of pointing that out too, right?
Because like it was because in Agony of a Witch, it was the first time like when Ida's gem started to turn like from like gold to black. It was
Right,
like, wait, what's
yeah.
going on? And like her eyes start turning black, and she does the speech everyone's over. It's like, hey, thank you for being a good part of my life. I may not be coming
Uh,
this like Wendy Malick, you did such a good job of delivering
but
that
yeah,
scene. It's like,
I like that's where my head went once I started reading that question. Like, oh yeah, this is what Bobby was asking about this too,
yeah,
and this, I think it's very interesting and
yeah,
like
it is.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one question well out of the way. No, those are not the bile sacs. Gosh, I was would be kind of concerned. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to actually show what the bile sacs look like, but
Yeah, there's a potential weak spot too. Like, could you imagine like what happens if like witch like has a spell and hits the bile sac? It's like if somebody attacked you and like bursted open your like
oh,
liver. Like, not to get overly gross, but it's just like that kind of thing. It's just like
yeah,
she's
and
Ida's
the
gonna be out of commission if that were the case. Yeah,
and the ability to use magic on their own is such an important thing for a witch, as far as what we've seen in the show. So it'd be like, wow,
yeah,
yeah, that'd mess you up. Like, if
yeah. It would.
not physically, emotionally, just be like, ah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, thank goodness, Ida's got like a really good like group of, you know, carrying people behind her, and Luz, who actually knows how to use magic despite not having that kind of like innate kind of ability to produce magic with her body. So that was very lucked out. I was like, yes, that's lovely. I
Yeah.
could see it playing out.
Yeah, Purple Phantom is asking, before you guys disappear, when's the next stream? It's still TBD because we don't really have like one planned
What
for
what
now.
would we stream
For
as far
me,
as
like I am thinking of like doing reviews for other shows. Like I have another one I need to finish up, so
I
it
might I might
probably
jump in too though. Like if
yeah.
we team up, like if you let me know which one you're checking out, then I could be like, all right, let me check it out too. We can.
Oh, okay. So in that case, you just want me to let you
Yeah.
know. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've talked about like some before. I don't want to like make promises I can't keep, so I'm not gonna be like specific. So the next stream, it may not be like strictly Owl House related. It may just be us talking about another show.
I mean, our Owl House streams right now are just going to depend on whether there's more content to go off of
Yeah,
or
or
not.
if we either come up with a fan theory or come across one that like everybody's talking. It's like when Star was on and everybody kept bringing up the purple handprint, like Moon's purple handprints from that one. I think it was the season 3 finale, and everybody was like, Moon, that Moon still has the veins.
Oh gosh, yeah, I remember that. That was intense.
Yeah, yeah, God, like I just remember that phase where I was wondering, is Moon gonna die? And like people were concerned. I still remember there's this one like fan comic where the veins like just keep growing and growing on like Moon's arms, and it looks like
Oh,
she looks like she's fading out, and her eyes are gonna like close. It's just like,
no, that's so sad.
hmm
Uh, the ability some people have to just take things to such a sad point. I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
that
So.
would make me
hmm
cry.
Yeah, so but we'll keep going, Purple Phantom, because it's like we still have like several
We've
more
also got
questions to go
a
through.
good
Yeah.
amount of questions to go off of, and you guys are giving us a lot more to talk about in the chat too. So thank you
Yes,
so
thank you.
much.
Yes, you've been like very supportive. That's why like I really like doing these kind of streams live,
Yeah,
so we
this is
can
a
get
lot of
back to
fun.
feedback. And when we do the episode reviews, one of the reasons why I don't like doing them from the camera, because if I were to go for, first of all, reviewing a show all by myself can get really lonely sometimes. But the other reason is like if I were to go through like all, let's say, last 5 Owl House episodes, I would have to like restart my camera. It's like, okay, done with episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and it would just take
Oh
forever
yeah.
to edit. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Okay, let's see. Where are
Yeah, so
we? We just did the.
number 7, how long does it basically take to create like the battle scenes, which we kind of
Okay,
talked
yeah.
about. Yeah, and Dana said, quote, roughly
Roughly
1 year, I
3 years.
believe, from episode premise to animation to music to final color and all that jazz. This is why our schedules are stacked. It can be very confusing and overwhelming.
And this is where I'm like, wait, how do they make that pan out then? But once you notice that they're not only working before they release the season, but then like they could practically be working on it while we're watching it come out. Of like
Hmm.
seeing how it spans out, you're like, oh, okay, I see how it works there. So I mean, it all pans out. I think the concept of taking an entire year for an episode may sound long, but I mean, as far as how we're seeing it, it looks like it works out pretty well.
Yeah, so it's kind of not far off from what I was saying about Avatar, where one of the co-creators said it takes about 9 months, so it's
Yeah.
understandable. I think like the one big exception I could think of is South Park, but like what other shows like it can like make episodes like in a week? I seriously sometimes wish I had co-creator Trey Parker's work ethic, where he once said in an interview he doesn't do his best work when he has time. Like he said he's the kind of person where if when he's back in college, he would write his term paper the morning it's due.
Oh
And
gosh.
like it must be like, a lot for Trey to do, but like it's like, as a person who admittedly procrastinates, it's just like, man, I kind of wish like it may be a lot, but in a sense like I kind of wish we could just make as good as work as you do, you know?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm more or less the same way. I'm not proud of it,
Yeah. No, 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 we're
but
both like, yeah, we're both in that boat. Just Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, yeah, Purple Phantom said, I just thought Moon couldn't handle Eclipse's dark magic. And the show was hinting that, it looked like she wouldn't be able to, because I remember at the end of Toffee, the her veins like they started to turn like reddish and like starting to grow. And in
oh,
that one episode where her hand is just like completely like dark purple, like, which is actually one of the, okay, that's one of the star plot points that didn't really go anywhere, because it's just like, oh, it looks like it's gonna grow, and then nothing, and then didn't really go
yeah.
anywhere,
I
did
mean,
it?
like we get to see Eclipse just kind of chilling with it, like, oh, this, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, oh, I'm just like I'm already getting nostalgic for Star as I bring it up every now and
Aww.
then. Yeah,
I mean,
so
I am a little bit too. I might if I can manage to find the time, I might rewatch that. I might rewatch the Owl House just because of how much I'm enjoying it.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I really need to get in the habit of doing it myself, because like I think that's why I could remember Avatar as well as I could, because I would go back and rewatch the episodes. So, yeah, I need to start doing that myself. And Purple Phantom said, "I like watching fellow cartoon lovers, and we do too." Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so next question, and this is the one that Herlon was getting to, is the question of what merchandise is there going to be. To which Dana said, "quote Man, I have no idea. Disney is historically weird with that junk. Besides, all the fan merch I've seen is so much cooler than anything Disney makes anyway. Haha."
I mean, she hit the nail right on the head, I think.
Yeah, because it's like I still remember like when Star got really popular, and I would make videos saying, why isn't Disney making merch for that show? To which they kind of did. I mean, and also let's not forget, like the Funko Pops,
Oh, that's true.
Marco.
I have my hold on. Ah.
I think Gabby is referring to Tom because I think I gave her a Tom Funko Pop on her birthday a year or two ago. Whenever.
Da, 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 da,
Yay, Tom!
da! I have like so many of these guys, and I remember. Oh, hold on, let me get like. Ooh. Hi, Tom! Don't fall.
Yeah, that's the thing about like the Funko Pops, especially the ones that don't have stands like Marco, is they keep falling.
This guy, I mean, I love him,
Mm-hmm.
but this guy in particular does not like his stand.
Oh, I see. So he does have a stand.
He does not like it though, but there he is. I love
Yeah.
his little there you go, his
The
little
Rose, which is a
rose.
reference to the season 1 and 2 intro. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think
And
one day I'll probably just show you guys how many pops
yeah.
I have. I also, my boyfriend is equally, if not more, obsessed with them than I
I
am.
see.
So yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm not getting one myself, he's definitely like thinking of the next one we're both going to get. Ah, but okay. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much.
that,
I
and
love
also
my
they
little
also
Tom.
released this for Comic-Con.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And then the other place I hear a lot of is the Mystery Shack.
Yeah,
As
that
far
gets
as
brought up a lot.
fan made love. And funny thing, I actually got to take a look at the Mystery Shack today, and they have their own Albert.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, like the little talisman kind of like staff
Mm-hmm.
part that comes off, just little Albert there, just so cute. I'm like, awesome. And this is why I think Dana with the response kind of hit the nail with the head, because we're seeing all these awesome things being made by the fans, and just Disney completely just dropping the
It's
ball,
like, yeah, it's like I remember I used to work at like a marketing company, and I knew somebody there who really liked Star as well. And I remember him saying it's because basically Disney, they're a movie company at its core. This is the Frozen, Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Star Wars company. Star and Owl House?
Yeah, and I mean, this is nothing new for me. I mean, I remember when I was starting to get back into cartoons, one of the main shows that I wanted to find stuff for
Yeah.
was The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
Yeah.
And we're talking Cartoon Network here, and just to even find fan art and fan made stuff for it, it's like, at least at the time, it was particularly difficult.
Yeah.
So seeing a lot more fans kind of, get their head in the game and just making
Yeah,
their own
that's
stuff,
yeah, one
it's
of the good
awesome.
things to come from the internet. And yeah, definitely, yeah, I
Absolutely.
do enjoy buying, like merch from not just Star, but also other franchises. Like my iPhone is currently sitting in an Earthbound case. I also have a Star case as well, and I also all sorts of other merch. But it will also be nice if like Disney themselves could like pump out merch.
That I remember we went on a whole thing about the King plush
Yeah,
that
like
Dana
that
received
Dana
from a
had.
fan.
Yeah.
Poor person though, just like seeing how they got bombarded with requests.
Yeah.
They're like, no, leave me alone, guys. I just made that for Dana. I'm not going to make everyone a
Yeah,
whole
so
blush.
yeah, so it's
It
clear.
costs money
And
and it
God, I
takes
still
time.
remember. And you know what the funny thing is? I remember going to a Star panel that had Adam McArthur, Marco's voice actor, and he said there was this one time where apparently Funko's I don't remember. I was like some sort of like a request thingy majig, and like everybody was like like nearly everyone was star, and the person called Adam and said, "Can you make them stop?" Basically.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember I saw it, and I mean, obviously, I was as a plush collector. I mean, I have my little, yes, I have a ton of plushes here. This is just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But once I saw King, I was like,
Yeah, King would be
oh,
perfect. I think would be a perfect character for a plushie. I think my
yeah,
sis wants
but
one that has Hootie.
oh, that person was actually making commissions.
Oh, I
There,
see.
yeah. So that's it. The one person made a king plush, and I don't blame them for not wanting to make more. Like it was intricate as heck.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of time and effort was put in that. And if they were going to make everyone king plushes, that was going to be an eternity and a whole big, huge hole in their wallet, no matter how much people paid for it. So yeah, that's the sad thing. You know, I come up to their Twitters like, no, I'm not making you a king plush just right there as their like title. Just like for people to just stop asking them. It's like, no. But the one person was actually, promoting their item in that they were making a whole bunch of hoodies. This
Mm-hmm.
long pillow with in the form of hoodie, and Dana got one, and just like everybody's like, oh yeah. Sadly, I remember seeing the commissions were closed. I was
Mm-hmm.
actually looking back on that today, but hopefully they'll make more commissions.
Yeah, I
You
hope
know, and
so.
if there's more demand for it, probably hopefully the fan artist will get back on it. Obviously we gotta have patience with these with them, just because usually it's not more than a single person working on all of this stuff,
Yeah.
which is the sad part of it all. But I mean, hey, it's a lot of work, and that means they're getting hopefully enough out of their endeavors to actually make a living out of it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta look up the other question because I think I paraphrased it incorrectly. But
Which one? The next one? What was it?
something about I think it had something to do with construction, but I'm trying to find.
Oh, yeah, basically, I remember this. They were basically asking if we're going to see other kind of like places that were bird themed. For
Mm-hmm.
example, a raven house.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was pretty much what it was. It was just asking if there were going to be more places like the owl house,
Yeah,
like
and
within the show.
which yeah, and Dana said, "quote Bird themed things are generally a clawthorn thing."
Yeah, I like saw down in the comments somebody was just making fun of the concept of the clothorns just hogging all of the bird themes. Like,
Yeah.
hey, leave some of them for the rest of us. It's
Yeah,
like,
so
no.
because it's interesting because like obviously Ida's associated with owls. I noticed somebody associated Lilith with ravens.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere, I think it was pointed out that
Mm-hmm.
her talisman is a raven.
Hmm. Oh, I
Yeah.
see. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So okay. So apparently that's more so with like the Clawthorn family. And also, how do you feel like? I think some people thought that maybe Ida's parents were the ones who cursed her initially, because I noticed like
That would have been
Ida's
sad.
yeah, because I noticed Ida's parents get brought up a lot, like in like the fan theory like sort of
Yeah, and I
world.
think I think I kind of talked about this a little bit, just in the fact that we don't really know a lot about them. We don't know if they're the kind of persons who would support such an eccentric character like Ida, as far as their being their child, or if
Yeah,
they would be the kind of parents who tell her to just kind of conform and fit in.
yeah, but like. Oh God! Like I would relate to this if they went down the path of look at Lilith, like she's like yeah,
Look at
Emperor's Coven.
Lilith.
It's just like feels like it's like it's the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's it's just like
I mean, I think the only reason I can't see them doing that is just because of how well she seemed to do as
yeah,
far as
like
like
I'm sure,
her
like, cause like
strength.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went in the direction where it's like, okay, maybe at first they're kind of on an icy relations with Ida, but in the end they still love her as their kid. you know?
I would kind of see it, and this is just because of how I play this out in my head, where
Mm-hmm.
since she, from the beginning, it seems to show a lot of potential, especially being younger than Lilith, and being able to to kind of like play at her level so soon. I'd probably see them as the kind of people who are just kind of like, you're going to do big things, you're going to be great, and blah, 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 and we love you, and you're going to be amazing, you're going to be like an exemplary student, you're going to kick butt. And they're like, oh no, she's nonconformist.
I see.
It's just like, oops,
The
she's a
big oops.
rebel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that's why we
It's
love Ida so
like,
much.
just like, family disappointment.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see them. It's interesting because at least with Amity's parents, we've seen what they were like in the past. Whereas with Ida and Lilith's, we don't know like much about. Do they even get brought up?
I don't think they do, and this is why everything we're talking about right now is just hypothetical because we don't
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just been like, "Oh, she's fine. She's a rebel, but she's fine." But we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, come to think of it, family relations is like kind of this ongoing motif in the Owl House, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, in general, I think kind of messing around with the dynamics in families is always interesting. There's always potential for any kind of like uh, clashing of interests.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if it's not outright like, oh, they're just going to have bad relationships from the get-go, something pops up at some point in time, tensions rise, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it's just family relations are weird. They're
Yeah,
weird.
let's just put it at that. Yeah. Okay, so next question. How old, like basically asking what are the ages of Gus? Did I just pronounce Gus? Like, what is this, Top Gun?
Oh gosh, now I'm imagining a meme. I mean, Goose Gus. Goose Gus.
Freudian slip. Freudian slip. Let's just.
Just like slap. I'm now imagining Gus with a goose head.
Oh my god. Okay, so the question is like, what are the ages of Gus, Ida, and Moose? Which the answer actually kind of surprised me with Ida.
Oh, did I get cut off?
Did you? Uh-oh.
Oh, okay, no, I'm here. Do you still see my camera?
It looks like you froze.
Oh, yeah, something happened with... This is my phone. I think I've pointed this out before. I don't have a webcam, and my computer does not have an integrated one because it is a small computer that is not like a laptop.
I see.
So I use... Yeah, hold on. Let me turn it on. There.
Okay.
Hello!
There we go.
Hi,
There we go.
I'm
Yeah,
back.
we're good. Yes.
So I found a way to like
No,
connect.
Purple Phantom, don't do this to me.
What they say?
Gus with a goose head, and get ready for this. Time to meme it.
Exactly. Oh man, I was gonna do it myself, but somebody does it. Go for it. Take it.
If you're gonna if you're gonna do this for real, like go just post it on like you could let me know on Twitter. Did I just accidentally start another Plant? Are you familiar with Plant, Gabby? It was the YouTube channel I Hate Everything. Basically, like, it was him, like, sort of throwing dirt at the damn Daniel meme, and he was like, oh, it's so stupid, it's like if I point at this plant and go, Plant, and he accidentally created a meme.
I just imagine going, oh no, I've created a monster.
Yeah. So, okay, sure. So, but anyway, so the age is, as Ida, I'm kidding.
Okay. Don't look at me. I'm gonna make it worse.
So, Dana, let me take a deep breath. Like, yeah. Why was I was so nervous before this stream today, and now it's like complete opposite.
Okay. Whew. Whew.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, like, hi everybody, Blood Moon, Bobby, and Gabby here. So
I'm sorry,
let's
what?
start over. Let's just start over. Okay. So anyway, so the
Okay,
ages.
we good, we
So
good, we good.
Dana said the ages of Gus, Ida, and Lusar. With Ida, it's quote mid to late 40s. Same with Lilith, except 2 years older. It never felt right to give these characters exact ages unless it was somehow super relevant to the story. Which, it's funny because remember, we are still laughing at this.
All right, I'm good. I'm good. We're good.
Do you remember the body swap episode?
Body swap. Oh yes, 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 yes. I do.
It's funny. Like I was honestly expecting Ida to be old because I remember when Luz swapped with Ida, Luz was like, "Oh, I feel so old." I was wondering, so is Ida one of those like? Because you know how like in like fantasies, there's sometimes characters that are like hundreds of years old and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's basically what I imagine. King being just
Oh, I see.
right off the bat. So that's why I'm like, aha,
And
cool.
yeah, and what I also kind of like made it more so was like with Ida, I sometimes wonder, is she supposed to be like a dead like character? Because like her hand comes off, and she even like lost her head in the first episode. Like she's a Tim Burton character where she could just like reattach it. So it's just like what?
I think from what I can tell, it seems like they're playing off more of the fact that they have to worry less about that
Yeah.
in their realm, and just Ida being this kind of like badly put together person, and just kind of manifesting in that way because of the curse and all of that.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that being a little bit too grim for him to be like, oh yeah, she's like low key a zombie.
Yeah, so I was just kind of wondering because I just think of like characters like Emily the Corpse Bride or Rasputin from Don Bluth's Anastasia, where like
Oh
they're dead
yeah,
characters and like the hand falls off, the leg falls off, and that kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely gave me that kind of vibe too, though. But I mean, this is Dana we're talking about, so it's
hmm
not that surprising.
Remind me to like I know I keep bringing this up, but I really do want to interview the Owl House crew one day, and maybe we'll get some. But it's just like I really want to like ask her maybe someday like for like some clarification because I'm just like when I see a character losing the hand or head I just and like they're still like talking it's just like to me it's like so like dead character like Tim Burton's Corpse
Yeah.
Bride like or I don't know like yeah as you could
That's
tell I
definitely that definitely can use some clarification. I
mhm,
mean, I'm not sure. I kind of interpreted it differently, but it definitely makes sense
I
too.
see
Like it's not out of the question.
mm-hmm. Yeah and so Gus not Goose is is 12. Gus is actually. I was expecting him to be like the same age as Willow, but he's 12, like kind of like Aang from Avatar.
I guess so. I find that fitting.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, and Willow is 14. King is
Yeah,
we don't know. Like Dana just put a bunch of question marks.
that's why I'm just kind of like, yeah, he's probably like I am an immortal being. I was there at the beginning and I shall be there at the end.
Yeah, I was there. I was there in that opening scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey. You just couldn't see me. With like the apes around the monolith.
You know that ape that chimp that threw the bone? Yeah, that's my homie. It's my homie Charlie there.
Yeah, I miss Charlie. Yeah, wouldn't that be
You know, I go
funny?
way back.
Yeah, we go way back. Okay, so I think you posted the next question about Principal Bump.
Oh yes, yes.
So remember
Let me
to
remember.
paraphrase Gabby.
Hold on, give me a moment. I lost my mark. Okay, here we go. So this question was about basically the demon that we see a Principal Bump always has on his head, and they were basically asking, like, what's the deal with it? Is it low key like controlling him? Is it just for fashion? Like, what's the deal? Or was it just like, I don't know, like, what is it? And Dana responded, and I quote,
Mm-hmm.
hold on, let me get my page. Okay. His name is Frewin, and he has a purpose. That's all I can say for now. And this kind of stood out to me only because, like, this wouldn't be the kind of detail you would expect to have such a big impact in which the creator does not feel, ready to give all the information out there. So I found it very interesting, and I'm here thinking, like, okay, so this is definitely a point to keep an eye on this detail, so...
Yeah, because, like, I didn't even know that was a demon. I thought he was just, like, wearing, like, a mask or something.
Yeah, me too. Like, I didn't think much of it. The only reason why I could have, like, part of me thought, maybe that is an actual living creature is just the fact that behind, you can kind of see, like, a body back there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as far as, like, what its deal was, it's like... But we even have a name now, so holy mac.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe it is controlling Principal Bump. Or like, what if it's like a thing where it's like Emperor Bellows put on his head and it's like, we make sure that, which I don't know if this adds up because Principal Bump tends to be like a more lenient character, but it's like a thing where it's like, we're always watching you, making sure, you do the right thing, if you will.
I wouldn't be surprised though. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Emperor Bellows would just be playing along, and even though he seems to just be playing cool, he's there telling him, like, yeah, go ahead.
Or is it like thinking... So, yeah, I don't know, like, because, like, we've seen, like, Principal Bump be cool with Luce going into this idea where she's learning multiple magic tracks. So is it like the thing where Emperor Bellows is, like, aware, but he's thinking, what is Luce capable of? Like, what happens if you teach a human, like, magic spells?
I think, yeah, possibly that could be the case. Just as well that we notice that Emperor Bellows does not really have a particular interest specifically in Luce.
Mm-hmm.
The only fact he kept pointing out was that she came in through a portal, and he just wanted access to that.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, maybe he just didn't anticipate her having any kind of, like her not being a big deal and not going to be any trouble. He just, kind of made a bad call there in his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we don't think it's a bad call at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, the question is still out there. Like, what is he doing with Luce? Like, what's his deal with his interest in on all of this? So, it's out there. We will hopefully get the answer, and I think this is just another point to be like, hey, we should look at this. Like, look, you see? Right
yeah,
there?
so it's like, so now it's like when when I see Principal Bump, I'm just instantly gonna be aware. Oh yeah, that thing on his head, that's a living thing. That's not just wearing a mask to school.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe it's not going to play in as far as we think it is, but if it's important enough for Dana to hold back, I think it's a good idea to take note of that.
Yeah. Okay, so next one.
Next one. So basically, they're asking about Ida's bile sac and how that ended up with her losing magic, and to that Dana responded, yes, she came on herself.
Yeah, Wendy Malick came. Like, we're both confusing, like, Dana for Ida. It's just like, Ida's a fictional character. Dana is the creator.
Dana says, quote, it's like an organ that stopped producing the chemicals that she needs to produce magic on her own. It's still there, but it's pretty useless now. So, yeah, I mean, I think that paints a really good picture as to where that happened. also kind of explains how the functionalities of magic work with that, in that we can kind of compare how she and Luce get around not being able to use magic on their own.
Yeah.
Just like how we saw Luce found out she can't use magic in her home realm. We could kind of figure out where exactly that ties in with someone like Ida, who's always around in that realm, and see if anything like that applies in any other aspect. So I think that's pretty interesting. And the next question goes, what's the deal with King's Collar? And they're just basically asking, like, why the heck does he have one in the first place? Like, is there any kind of, like, funny question or that? And she just goes, to be revealed in season 2.
You know what I just thought?
What?
Like, King's wearing a collar around his neck. Just like for a second, it reminded me of you've seen Hunchback of Notre Dame, right, Gabby?
Right.
Remember the map that Esmeralda gives Quasimodo that he like wears on his neck?
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, what if that like collar, the shiny part has like a map to the Titan or something like that? Especially with all the people who are like wondering, is King related to the Titan?
That's a very good. I hadn't thought of that. That would be really cool. I mean, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, I saw this wasn't even the only question, kind of painting a picture of King's importance here. We had other people asking about his horn. We had others like asking, like, can you just give us any more information as to like how he plays in it all? And she's just like,
Yeah, like Dana does that quite a bit, where she's just like, or you'll find out.
Yeah, and I just every time she starts talking, like responding like that, I just hear like a hooty voice.
Or I just think back to when I still remember when like I asked her in Nefcy, who do you ship, and she was like, I can't tell you, you're being tricky, basically. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Dana, it's like, not to bring up, like, the old interviews. Again, I really miss being able to interview creators, but coronavirus was like, coronavirus doesn't know how to have fun, basically. But, yeah, so it's just like, yeah, those kind of things are just, like, kind of up in the air for now.
Okay. Yeah, so that I do apologize. I know that was just kind of like, well, we don't have anything to really go off of there. And it's like,
yeah,
that's the fun of it.
Yeah, that's the fun of it. Yeah.
So I mean, also I tried not to go on the like, oh, hey, what are you going to do for season 2? So because a lot of people were asking that too, and it's like, well, you gotta expect there not to be a lot to go from there. Like,
yeah, or you have to at least be like more specific. Like when that person was asking, "What are Mr. and Mrs. Blight like?"
Oh yeah. I think that was another very good one too. It's more so about like, oh, I didn't expect that to be a big deal. So, and for the last question, I managed to pick out.
Yeah.
They ask basically, what Owl House was like in early development, basically going off of it having the label of a horror comedy, and it kind of seeming like the show could have been darker in concept when it was first pitched.
Yeah.
And to that, now this is a particularly long quote, and if you need me to stop, please let me, because I have the whole thing here.
Okay.
But let me get closer just so I can read it. There we go. So Dana basically responds, quote, the original pitch for Owl House was darker, yes. My end game is not to continue writing kids' cartoons, which are wonderful and rewarding, but not my personal jam. I prefer stories for older audiences where things like whimsy and darkness can coexist. I mean, hell, look at my personal artwork. Owl House is as kid-friendly as I'll ever be. Season 1, there was a lot of back and forth and compromise to work with what the studio wanted. And I'm very very proud with what we accomplished in the first 19 episodes. The Owl House crew is amazing, but it was also an impactful learning experience as to what my creative voice is and what kind of stories I want to tell. That being said, I think season 2 hits the intended tone a little closer. Excited to share it someday. And what I found most interesting about this is just how she's already, set to make more mature content.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the Owl House, you can kind of go off of that, just kind of getting those vibes to begin with. And this just gets me interested in the fact of, if this is what we're getting with limitations, as far as to where she can go with her creativity, imagine what she can do if she gets the opportunity to make a show where she doesn't have to worry about age ratings and all of that. We can have some really interesting stories here, and to also hear that she's able to get closer to that tone in the current show she's working in with Owl House. That just, I don't know about you, but I just get really excited because I'm for that too. Like, I love a lot of the family-friendly shows that are out there, but when you find that gem that can just go anywhere because it's aimed more towards older audiences,
Mm-hmm.
it just gives off this completely different kind of vibe and sort of philosophical air that it's just hard to hit when you have the limitations of family-oriented content.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like how I feel with JG Cantel when he went from making regular show, which I think was meant to be more targeted towards teens, young adults, like basically more of a family-friendly audience. And now he's doing Close Enough, which is, basically it's now he could do borderline whatever he wants. It's just you have to censor that, vibrator, and you can't,
Right.
your vocabulary can't go beyond the word shit, basically.
Yeah.
Or I already told you that really funny joke in Close Enough about a killer stripper clowns,
that and looking at some of the details that we have here, just talking about the Owl House. I mean, like the innuendos that we can find in the show would just go it would be way up there.
Yeah.
You're like, who knows? Like, if they're just kind of having Lumity, kind of have what everyone's calling gay panic, imagine if they didn't have to keep it that PG.
I see.
And I mean, obviously, it's like we're talking about kids here, but that would be the whole point. Who knows? We might even have older protagonist characters.
Mm-hmm.
Who, are up there. That's the whole point of their experience. Let me try to think. Also, another example that I saw was when they were asking about apple blood. I don't know if you saw that question.
No, I didn't.
Well, they were asking about apple blood, and they're like, oh, hey, what's it taste like? And if we were going to make a drink based off of it, how would we go about it? And she's just like, well, it depends. Are you talking about the hard stuff or that sissy stuff that they put in the kids' juice boxes?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's like, oh, shoot, wait, did Eden just take a giant glass of, booze early in the morning? Like, what?
Oh. Was that in, the second episode?
Yeah, where she's like, oh, I need my apple's blood. And Luce is just like, you mean apple juice, right? She's like, no. Yeah,
this
and
is why I need
this
to
red
rewatch.
cup of drink.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this lady, I like where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I apologize if I'm assuming here. I didn't mean to just go straight up on that, but this person, they're just going way out there, and if this is how far they're going with their, with their content having to be so limited. I would be really excited to see how far they can go when they're just to the most extent have like free reign of what kind of tone they can go for, and what kind of stuff they can work with. So yeah, I found this very, 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 very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also, I sometimes think about similar things with like Alex Hirsch as well. Like, what would happen if you gave this person like, ability to make like a more adult oriented show. And also like I also started thinking she could also make like the fight scenes like, even more intense and like characters like getting hurt and that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, and the stakes that are already getting so high. Imagine how much higher they could get. You
Mhm.
know, kind of. We would probably go there where it's not just petrification, but what's gonna happen after petrification.
Yeah, just pull Narnia and
Yeah,
just
and oh gosh, the imagery that just comes to mind now, just with like, okay, playing off of like, there's also like a body in there. We would probably have blood oozing out of it and whatnot.
yeah. So
So the possibilities are just like,
I don't know, like
you
just
know,
yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility I could see if they could go there. Like my imagination prior to the episode was just like even more. I had to like kind of dial down my expectations a bit and like stop. I'm thinking this is gonna be like some like super like graphic like violent fantasy you would find at HBO. This is Disney Channel. They wouldn't do that.
exactly, yeah, and I think this shows Dana definitely wants to go there.
Hmm.
Definitely, but we just don't have the opportunity to see that come to fruition yet. And I think the potential of having that come to fruition is just super interesting. If not with
Yeah.
Owl House, with another concept,
Yeah,
you
she
know.
yeah she comes up with a new show like let's say after um like I know it's sad to think what if one day Owl House ends, but it's kind of like thinking what if she like goes on to like Netflix or Hulu where she can go as far as she would like.
Oh yeah,
Or at least more
definitely.
so in that direction, like I mentioned, close enough. Like there's even like a couple limitations with that show as far as what they can get away with. But it's far more like they go to far more places in close enough than they could in regular show. And
Absolutely,
if anything, I
absolutely.
remember reading this article where JG Quintel said one of the reasons he wanted to move on to Close Enough was because he wanted to do a show that was like much more closer to his own personal life. Like now that he's a dad and it's been like so many years since regular show premiered, that was why he wants to do a show where, as he put it, it's about like 30 something year old characters where they're still, trying to have fun, but they're learning not to get, like, behind the times and
Right,
getting
yeah.
out of touch, which is you see that everywhere in like enough. Like I still remember, I think the lead character Josh like thinks like, oh, the cool kids use like, or one of the characters like, oh, the cool kids use TripAdvisor.
What?
Like it covers themes like that.
That's hilarious. Just like, oh yeah, this is what the cool kids use. Get with the times,
Hmm.
old man.
Yeah, and yeah, but I love how they do this in like a very relatable, like sort of fashion, or at least identifiable. Like I'm not, we're not like in our 30s, but it's like we see what like what like I see what like JG is trying to get across.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, went through 14 responses and a answered a question we got from someone on Twitter. So yeah.
Plus, we got to get some awesome feedback in the chat.
Yeah, I really enjoy when there's a lot of feedback in the chat, even though I might have accidentally started a meme. But yeah, so I'm curious
Goosehead
to know.
Gus.
Yeah,
Go on.
Gus.
Go forth and bring on the goose, my
Hmm.
friends.
Or I wouldn't be shocked if some people just like Photoshop Gus into like Top Gun because Goose is the name of one of the characters.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay, that works too.
So who knows? So all right. So so I think I actually have to head off for now. I know Gabby, you also have to head out pretty
Yeah.
soon. So yeah, so if anybody else is watching after this stream is finished, just let us know in the comments. What did you think of the AMA? Did you notice the other things in the AMA that we didn't have time to go over, and you would like our feedback? So. Yeah, so leave all those thoughts down below, or even just where do you think the second season of the Owl House will go? So, yeah, so once again, Gabby, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. And until next time, we'll see you all later. Oh, all right.
Bye.
Actually, one more thing before I head off, I wanted to
Ah,
point this out.
okay.
I do have a link to my Discord down below in the comments, which I want to like start getting into like using the Discord more for like discussing like other shows like Owl House, Amphibia, Infinity Train. When I eventually get to those shows, obviously. So
I will be excited to meet more of you guys. Please.
yeah,
Yes.
so I know I keep forgetting to bring that up in my stream. So yeah,
This
go
is
join the
new
Discord.
information for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, oh, cool. We're just here. I mean, I'm now excited. I didn't know we were going to have like a little thing going on there. Heck yeah.
Yeah, of course I like to. So yeah, because I notice a lot of people. You know, you also like being on Discord, Gabby. So it's like
Oh
maybe I
yeah.
should take advantage of it.
It's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see you guys there.
Yep. So yeah, Purple Phantom
Yay.
said you'll join it, and yeah, we'll see you later too. So until next time, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.